My friend told me she was going to have a small and intimate wedding with her and her husband's family, and close friends/co-workers weren't invited to the ceremony, so I didn't mind not getting an invitation, but then I found out that 3 of our other mutual friends got an invitation, and I'm the only one not invited. Posted by you/wedding_day. I, 25F, met my friend Amanda, 27F, at work over 3 years ago. She was new to the team, and I had the opportunity to help train her. We clicked instantly, and became really good friends pretty fast. There was never any doubt in my mind that we weren't close friends. Although her schedule was slightly different than mine, she gets off work an hour or two after I do, we always made plans and met up for shopping, drinks, hanging out, and double dates with our boyfriends. Obviously, we have mutual friends we work with, and we all try to have dinner together every once in a while or go out to a bar or club. I was very happy for Amanda when she got engaged to her longtime high school sweetheart just over a year ago. They're absolutely perfect for one another, and when she showed me the ring I was floored with how pretty it is. I did ask when the wedding would be, and she said late in the summer of 2017. It's coming up in August. She has spoken to me almost daily about her wedding planning process, which I'm totally fine with. One day, while we were hanging out, she proactively told me that she wasn't inviting close friends or coworkers to the ceremony. She wanted a small and intimate wedding with her and her soon-to-be husband's family, and then everyone would be invited to the reception after. This seemed like a really good idea, and I said I liked that a lot. However, after she sent out invitations, 3 mutual friends or coworkers Snapchatted their invitations, and it's not just a reception-only invitation. The snaps weren't sent directly to me, but were on their story, and I just so happened to see them while clicking through stories. I was hurt that I didn't receive an invitation, even if only to the reception, but I didn't bother bringing it up to Amanda. Clearly, we weren't as close of friends as I thought, and she had already made it clear to me that she had no plans of inviting friends or coworkers. However, since she had invited some other girls we work with, I figured it was just a roundabout way of her politely telling me I wasn't invited while trying to spare my feelings. However, she still talks to me daily about her wedding, that's coming up in just a few months, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. She constantly talks about everything. Recently, she talked my ear off during our lunch break about her dress, and then showed me all of the pictures she took in it before sending it off to get altered. It's a very pretty dress, but was a harsh reminder that I won't get to be there to see her in it or celebrate her marriage. I'm perfectly polite and engaged in our conversations when she speaks to me about her wedding, but it's the only topic that ever comes up, and any attempt to change it up somehow comes straight back to her big day. I get it, she's excited, and she's allowed that, but it stings. A lot. Obviously, I've distanced myself from hanging out with her as much, because her thoughts on our friendship were drastically different than mine. How can I politely tell her to stop talking to me about it, without hurting her feelings, or having it turn nasty? And if it does turn nasty, how should I even begin to handle it? I don't think Amanda would make things nasty, she's very nice, but I don't want her to feel like I'm attacking her in any way, and then make a mountain out of a molehill. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I think your best bet is to ask her to cut the wedding chatter, though frame it politely, because she's being a jerk. Amanda, I know you're really excited about your wedding, but it feels really weird to talk about it all the time when I'm not a guest. And then offer up a change of subject. Ops response. Thank you for this suggestion. I really like the way this sounds, and I can definitely see myself saying this very politely, and, hopefully, she doesn't take it the wrong way. If she doesn't get the point then, well, I'll try to be very firm about changing the subject. Commenter 2. Don't worry about her taking it the wrong way, she's the jerk, chatting about a wedding she excluded you from. Commenter 3. I think you should just keep your distance. If she's talking only about herself, then it's not really a great friendship anyway. Ops response. You have a valid point. I've already begun distancing myself since the invitation thing, and her talking to me has lessened over time. She really only talks to me when it's obvious I'm on break or not busy at work. I haven't hung out with her much, aside from the occasional coffee on a day off, but I plan on cutting that out as well. Op adds an edit to her post. I never expected this to receive as many comments or suggestions as it has. I have read every single comment thus far, and I've gained a lot of insight into the situation and how I should likely move forward. I will definitely speak up when Amanda tries to talk to me next. I will advise her that, while I'm happy for her, I have no interest in chatting about or listening to her talk about a wedding or celebration that I wasn't invited to. If she tries to continue, I'll deflect it as politely or humorously as possible. If she freaks out, well, I'll handle that to the best of my ability. Op adds a second edit to her post. I'm seeing a lot of repeat comments, and just want to reiterate a small fact. She's never asked for my address, nor does she know where I live, and vice versa. Although we hung out a lot, it was never at each other's place. She was living with her parents until she and her fiancé bought a house recently, so she wasn't comfortable having people over. And I live with several roommates in a shared home with my boyfriend, so I never invite people over. If she did intend to invite me, I imagine she would have asked for my address or given it to me by hand. Neither of these things happened, and with her first telling me she had no intention of inviting a particular group I fit into, I'm pretty confident that she never intended to invite me from the get-go. With that said, I plan on politely nudging her to stop when she approaches me next. I'll update this when that happens. Thank you all so much for your advice. Update 4 days later. Hello, everyone. I meant to update this yesterday when I got off work, but I forgot. So, here's a slightly late update on what transpired after I received a lot of great feedback and suggestions. I took my second break a little later than usual, hoping that Amanda wouldn't notice. Well, she did, and she hopped up from her desk and followed me into the break room. She said hello, asked me how I was doing, for once, and before I had fully sat down to relax, began chatting about her wedding, again. I waited a moment, then politely cut in with a smile and said, Amanda, I really appreciate that you want to share all of this with me, but this talk makes me slightly uncomfortable. She looked really confused and asked me why. I was honest and told her that it makes me upset that all it seems she wants to talk to me about is her wedding, and I wasn't invited. She kinda laughed it off and said, but I didn't invite anyone from work, so it's not just you. So, that comment alone made it very clear that I was intentionally excluded from her invitation list. Yes, she has every right to choose who she wants to invite to her wedding, but there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. Telling me she was excluding a specific group that includes me, then inviting other people and lying to me about it at that point, is not the right way to go about it. A simple, hey, I know we're friends and all, but I made the decision not to invite you to my wedding for X reason would have totally been okay. I would have respected that decision 100%. I kinda gave her a weird look and said, but you invited friend 1, 2, and 3? I saw it on their Snapchat stories a while back. Unless that was a mistake? I have never seen a woman turn around so fast and bolt out of a room. She looked positively angry. I imagined she went to find all 3 of these girls and tell them that I found out. Either way, I got to enjoy the last few minutes of my break in peace. She didn't approach me for the rest of the day, and avoided me as we both walked the same path to leave the building and get to the general area where we had parked our cars. Safe to say, I've lost a few friends, but I'm not heartbroken about it. I'm just glad there wasn't any drama involved in my saying anything. I'm pretty sure all 4 of them will be avoiding me from here on out. Thank you, everyone who took the time to read my post and gave me some advice, both good and bad. I appreciate it all. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. If this were me, I would plan a fun outing the same weekend of her wedding, like a trip to an amusement park, a weekend in Vegas, or the beach, etc., etc. And when she starts talking to you about the wedding, you can be like, I'm so excited for you and for that weekend to get here too because I am going to Vegas to spend 3 days slammered by the pool or something like that. Then start talking to the people she did invite about your trip. This will really drive it home that you weren't invited and they were, and it will hopefully make the bride-to-be look bad. Bonus. If I am reading this woman correctly, and I think I am, I would bet you get an invitation that was lost in the mail not too long after this conversation, and a serious guilt trip to try and get you to cancel and come to her reception. Ops response. Thankfully, I've got some plane tickets booked to head out to Florida for most of the month. So, I will be rather slammered by the pool or the beach. Commenter 2. I know they are co-workers, but it's clear they didn't see you as a friend. It's just as important to know who your enemies are. She was just using you while lying to your face. It hurts a little, but in the long run, she won't matter in your life, and now you can have a peaceful break. Ops response. I agree with this 110%. Thank you. Commenter 3. I know this is already an update, but I low-key am dying to know if she has even tried to approach you since then, her or her other friends. Ops response. I wasn't planning on logging into this account anymore, but was curious to see if this had gained any more comments. She hasn't tried to approach me at all. Neither have the other girls. It's Wednesday, and usually by now we all would have spoken in some way. I proactively removed all of them from my social media accounts, so I didn't give them the chance to remove me first.